Hello, Bam here with the Colorado Printing Project, and I'm going to be just doing a quick tutorial on getting the Twoolhead set up with the latest version of Cura LulzBot edition, which is this sort of right here, kind of neat interface. And this is just essentially a reskinned and slightly tweaked version of Ultimaker's version of Cura, based on Cura 2. So it's just got a ton of new settings if you're used to what LulzBot was putting out up until a couple months ago. There's just so many things that you can tweak and modify, and it's great. I love it. So with that, let's get started. So if you haven't done so already, you need to download the source material, because that'll have just all the different files that you need to get started, and it's kind of interesting. You can look at the bill of materials, all that. So if you just Google search for Colorado, or if you just Google search for GitHub Twoolhead, you'll find this public repository. And then you can either clone it and use it with some sort of Git software, or just download the zipped folder and use it that way. So I've already got this downloaded, so I won't bother with that. But once you download it, it will look like about like this. So you've got all sorts of different documents, media. Here's all the CAD renderings and photos and stuff that I used for the crowd supply campaign. You can look at the bill of materials and all of the backers that helped me sort of get this set up. Anyway, it's kind of neat to poke around through that, but really what you'll need to do is just go into this Getting Started folder and then open up the Twoolhead setup guide, because this will kind of help walk you through it a little bit. So if you get down to reconfigure the firmware and machine settings. So anyways, if you don't have Cura LulzBot edition downloaded yet, there's a link in this document to where you can get it directly from LulzBot. Cura LulzBot edition, there'll be a download button. Yeah, so that's how you get the latest and greatest version of the new Cura LulzBot edition. And let's get into setting up the machine. So right now it's just a LulzBot mini that I have set up, and we want to get it set up for the Twoolhead on. I'm running TAS 6s here, but if you have a TAS 5, just do everything the same, but select TAS 5. So add printer. And again, here, I'm going to click on TAS 6 because that's what I have, but if you're setting this up on a TAS 5, just select that. So TAS 6, and then name it something that makes you remember with Twoolhead. Yes, perfect. Add, it'll think for a minute. And then this is our machine settings screen. So there's a couple things that you need to do, and this goes for not just Cura LulzBot edition, but anything, Slicer, Simplify 3D, whatever. What you need to do is set it up as a TAS and change the start and end G code. So let's just blow away everything that's in both those, and we'll put in the new stuff in a second. But you also need to change the width. So since we're effectively cutting the build volume in half in the x-axis, we need to take this 280 and replace it with 140. And then that'll give you the effective build volume of just one side of it, which is how you set up the prints. So we've done that, and now we just need to get in the new start and end G code. So if you go to your Twoolhead setup guide, just go to the sort of end of this document, which is kind of an appendix, I guess. And then make sure that you're selecting it for the TAS 5 or 6 or whatever. Just make sure that you're using the right printer, because they are slightly different between the TAS 5 and 6. And there's a ton of start G code for this. Yay. So select all of that, copy, and go in here, start G code, paste, and same thing for the end G code. Copy and paste. So cool. This is all kind of neat, and that's all that you need to do for this part of it. So click finish. And now you see that it's in the middle of the bed, but really there are going to be just two of these side by side. But yeah, so let's load a part, and I'll show you there's one more thing that's going to jump out at you on this. Keep in mind that the Twoolhead was designed to use just stock TAS profiles, so all of these are already built in, which just gives you a great starting point to work from. But open file, and we can go to the Twoolhead files because why not? Production parts, custom parts, and let's run some right side. Nah, let's do Xmin switch header things. Yay. Okay, and so now it's given us an error. This is kind of annoying, but basically you have to find it. It's under the dual extrusion, which you can't do with the Twoolhead, but it's still going to prevent you from slicing because it's like, oh no, this prime tower is out of my build volume. I don't know. It's something that I'm trying to work on getting fixed in future versions, but don't have that yet. So if you just turn that to 100, that'll be within the build volume, and then you can slice. It doesn't change anything really, but you have to do that one step. And now we're actually ready to go. So I actually print these in ABS, Chromastrand Labs, because they make great stuff. And I want to keep that. Cool. So now you can go in and change any of these settings or just use the recommended with whatever infill you like. Yeah, you can multiply the model. Let's say I want 5 more, so 6 for each toolhead, and keep in mind that this is actually going to be printing duplicates. So there will be 6 printed on this side of the bed and 6 printed on that side of the bed, so you'll actually wind up with quite a few. So that's pretty cool. Great batch production. And then the last thing that I wanted to go over in this video is flashing the firmware. So you need to do this in order to get the Twoolhead to work correctly. Basically, out of the box, the TAS thinks it only has one print head, and you need to let it know that it's got both. So just go up to Printer, and then Manage Printers. Okay, and then we can say Upgrade Firmware, and then Upload Custom Firmware is what we'll need to do because it is custom. It's not a stock LulzBot upgrade. Then we go back into the source material, and there's just a folder called Firmware. And it'll say on the back of the Twoolhead what version you have, but most people will have the version 1.0. And then you just decide, do you have a TAS 5 or a TAS 6? And then in there you've got a hex file. So open that up, and it would automatically go through. It's giving me an error down here that unable to connect because I don't have a printer connected. But if you did, it would just upload the firmware, and then you would be good to go. So the last and final step that you'll need to do is once you've got that firmware flashed, you need to set the X home position and level the 2 nozzles to each other. So I'll make a third video that goes over that, and then that should be everything that you need to get set up. So please, if anything's unclear, leave a message in the comments or ping me directly. And thanks for watching.